gets frustrated. I'm talking about a female sociopath that came up to me and bothered me and was just trying to find a way to be like, trying to utter all kinds of strange opinions, as a trying to figure out which opinions I shared. Women are crazy. I never assume people share my opinion or even want to hear it. I don't think my opinions are so popular that I could just start mouthing out in public and expect other people to agree with me. But I notice all kinds of predatory females love to, make their as largely exhibited as possible. There's nothing so stupid that a white woman wants to proclaim it to all the world. Well, it's too bad you can't cry. Stalking. I mean, you go outside your door, and where you go, it's just degenerate people. They're all working their little scams, personality complexes. And it's amazing how disingenuous people are. Everywhere you go, people are liars. But what you're picking up is also a lot of coping systems in an oppressive world. It's hard to take. To me, it's just distributing excrement everywhere you go. It's like, something's wrong, something's wrong, something's wrong. And then think of all these millions of people living on the earth who believe that stars are millions of miles away. And their mind is being rented for free. The world's living in their mind for free. God is living in their mind for free. And they're giving God everything. It's like, oh, give it to God, give it to God. Give it all to God, give it all to pain. Tell your psychiatrist your pain. Give it all to God, give it all to God. Everything's a lie. Everything anyone's ever told me is a lie. Everything any woman has ever told me is a lie. Everything every teacher, every wise person's ever said is a lie. The only thing I find that isn't a lie is real red people. And not red people that write books with white people, but like real red people who try to keep themselves as fucking far from white people as possible. When I meet white people, say, oh, I'm with the red people, and they taught me this. These aren't real red people. These are red people who spend time with white people. Real red people do not spend time with white people. They're like me. They stay as fucking far from them as they can. No red man who's not a meth addict or crazy in some way wants to be around white people. White people are the worst people to ever be around because they're all sick, right? Song of my sister. Oh, hey, 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 There's a deer. Song of my sister, right there. There's a female deer. Hey, oh, hey, oh, hello, hello, hi, hi, hey, 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 hey. Sun's gonna come out maximally in a moment. Maximal sun, maximal. Oh, hi, hey dear. Deer's going where I usually go. Hello, hello. La 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 la. Going a little off the rails there. Hey, 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 hey. I only ever really had one good time with my sister, ever. Just one instant. So we didn't know, neither of us, that we were growing up in a very oppressive world. You do and you don't, right? So oppression is very difficult because your emotional body, the most honest, the part of you that really is no bullshit, like, dude, you're dying, or dude, you got to start breathing again, and all that kind of stuff. And the part that really has the most power to deal with pain, but it leads to all individual and group pathology and violence. And the extraordinary extent to which these parts of the brain have to go, and what remains as to how you speak and what you believe about what has become of your behavior and your sensibilities and your pains or that of others and the world at large. Learn is a neocortical delusion that's meant to serve up things to the neocortex, explain things, because all that's left to do is to explain stuff it can't control. The real power of how things turn out are really in the extent to which deeper parts of the brain deal with oppression. That's where the nuts and bolts is really taking place. And it's all right. So humans are never left to break out of oppression. The only way you're going to do it is by yourself. No group is there to help you do it. They're there to help you serve up neocortical delusions, to help the denial. So you're trying to basically do something you can never do and get something you can never get. The satisfaction of a conclusion to denial that just maximizes the intoxicating power of denial. More drugs, more heroin, more shit to do, more money to get, more solutions to everyone's problems that you pursue in your various cults and organizations and ideologies. No one, is part of any school system. It's not about helping the environment or helping this and helping that and helping us and helping that. It doesn't mean we don't make some things better. It's not that we haven't, but everything we do is always going to advance conditions which preference violence that nobody is going to be able to see while being able to solve all these other problems. It doesn't matter if you're an engineer, it doesn't matter if you're a computer scientist, it doesn't matter if you're a theologian, it doesn't matter if you're a Christian or Muslim or anything else. You're not solving anyone's problems by believing the world the way that you do. I think I gotta go this way, sorry. Oh, feel the sun on my back. Oh, lovely. Okay, I'm back here now. Oh, there's a spider. Ah, the sun's coming up. It's good. Time for a pee. one of the only psychologists or doctors that ever really got into this was Dr. Arthur Janoff. I don't think he was, because he was more of a system person, he was a doctor, the extent even as a theory, even if you don't believe his clinical work or his conclusions, that's fine, that's the nature of the beast, but what he had tripped hypothesis, along with child psychologists, are actually sexually abusing their patients. He's the first one to explain why they were doing it. They had to do it because they were completely eliminating the very nature of a child in every way. They literally were not speaking the language of children, the language of creatures that don't exist, unless you want to turn your children into, right? They were basically blaming them for all of their families in a very loving way, right? Now, you have to understand that your sense of self as a child and the health of your family are symbiotic. So if your family has a problem, right, you have a problem, essentially. Okay? And mothers and fathers and families have problems and inherit problems. Behavioral patterns and survival languages and coping systems, psychologies, that are more or less laundered, advanced, protected, and used to incite every range of what's left of grade human behavior, and joining various groups, abstract ideas about being a Christian and a Muslim and an American and a Canadian, what this gender is and what this gender is and who I am. Your sense of identity and your family's health are symbiotic. So if you grow up and you're not sure very much, it's because your family is sick. And if you grow up and you're sure about yourself, your family could still be sick, right? All families are sick. It goes up with a healthy sense of self. Right? An example of which is no white child in the last 1,000 years has been taught that logs and trees and birds and bees are there to teach you. Did you know that? And you can say, well, okay, a log is telling me something. Don't lay down too long or moss is going to grow all over you. Really look, I'm sitting on a log. These logs are full of life. Life. The forest does not die when a tree lays down. It has a vertical life, it has a horizontal life. Right? Right? The flesh and blood of the tree is always going to be the flesh and blood of the earth. It's never going to stop. It doesn't stop for any creature. It only stops for man when you meet the world of man's delusions. And then it stops you as a child like a heart attack. There's like a lead wall between you. Next thing you know, you're putting suntan lotion, which is carcinogenic, all over your skin so the sun doesn't give you cancer. You see the stupidity of that? And yes, your children will get burned, and their skin will have to produce a little more fucking melatonin. Because guess what? Inside anyway. Your children should be little brown people. I spend so much time outside, I'm the first person to get a tan. Because I'm looking at the sun every day. My face is going to start to get color because I'm finding places to go sun. As soon as I can, I'll be taking off my shirt and banging on the ground. Whatever else. More for its cleansing than for its tanning effect upon you. They're going to tan your hide. Boy, when that sun goes away. Well, it's probably afternoon. This is a nice, usually a private place. Again, the only time it's been such a nice, quiet place. It's impossible, isn't it? Really, you can see me sitting out here. And if you were out here, I'm sure hiking with your family or your friends, you would not just walk up to me and start blathering on, come into my space and insult me. You would never do that. 99.9% of the people that you will ever, no matter who they are, would never do that. A total psychopath would never do that. But this woman did. Just the perfect psychopath. Just like you can be a liar and be a psychopath and be like a blithering, innocent, very sincere idiot. And everything about her that day was stupid. Everything she said, everything she thought, her inability to listen to me, her disorientation to the environment, considering how long she's lived, how close to this river, everything, not knowing where she'd come from, nothing. She was telling me that she had been sacrificed like a bull. She was making a short journey of her life. She had found a log, gone over the river, and she didn't know the way back. And she was completely magnetically attracted to my space, right? And like in our interaction, what you'll notice with female predators is that only one of us could come away with our dignity, right? This idea that only one person can win, right? I've met other men out here, everything is fine, we both win. But with predator, there's only one winner from this interaction. It's very important in terms of what is the thoughts, what are the conditions of oppression, which have to be repeated almost everywhere through all the TV to get this idea, not even an idea, a form of training based on an idea that no one sustains any interest in talking about, that leaves different interactions of different relationships of different things mastered by based upon the reality, I guess, for that way of approaching all reality, that only one person can win, that one person has to devour the other. One person has to help the other, save the other, hurt the other, take the other, eliminate the other. Right? For a Christian to convert you to their religion, they have to eliminate you from all normal consideration for the animal of your being and all the voice thereof. They have to rape you to save you. They have to curse you to save you from the curse. That is fundamentally exactly what predatory narcissistic sociopathy and cult psychology is all about. And yet, it's not Christian's fault. It's not God's fault. It's your fault for having a problem with it. And they'll just keep culping you out, culping you out, and coming back for more. You can never be right. You can never have a case against the Christian's behavior toward the unsaved. They're predators, and they'll never speak the language of their prey, but they think that they speak your language better than you do. They think they speak the language of the universe, the language of salvation, which is only a tiny, tiny little language in a tiny, tiny little world that they've been reduced to. And the rest of nature is actually, there's no debt in nature. There's birth upon birth upon birth. Concussions and contractions of agony or shortness of breath and shortness of light or shortness of day, and then length of days and lengths of life in realms of spirit. Realms whose contractions themselves could not possibly exist if you could not possibly ever cease to do so. The flesh and blood of nature, the very spirit of nature, never dies. Nothing with a spirit can die. The spirit is ever living by its very nature. It is your breath, the never-ending breath, right? All knowledge should start with the never-ending breath of the spirit. And no knowledge in the world ever talks about the never-ending breath. Spring after spring. Instead, we cancel every spring and kill a 3-month-old baby and sexually molest a 33-year-old man in public and then eat little Cadbury cream eggs. What do you think is fucking happening? And then there's tax season. But every day is tax season, right? You're taxed the moment you're born with a $50 billion lien on your flesh and blood, which is no longer considered living at that point. You're living against this threat every day. Right? There's magic being done against you that you don't understand intellectually, but your emotional body completely understands. Give your emotional body a voice, and it will fucking understand everything that makes people suffer. And it's all connected to God. God takes your voice away. God lives off of you constantly and doesn't let you amount to anything more than a monster. Inhuman measures to become somehow a human being who struts across the stage and enjoys some sort of stellar existence, while itself but a mask of the most inhuman things that ever graced the imagination and the stage of the world. Ugliest people in the world are on television. World economics is a cult. Now, I'm gonna go my way. I don't want people to follow me. I just want to have a girlfriend to spend time with. Yeah, who likes listening. Oh, I love listening to you, Landon. My own thoughts, which are very similar to your own, but also are enhanced by the feminine nature of my incredible celestial biology, and also my breaths are firm and balanced. Please continue. Well, first, I want you to hold and feel my vagina. That doesn't sound right. That sounds like a sex doll. My girlfriend's doll. I put words in her mouth. It's like, you don't put words in my mouth, you put dick in my mouth. You have a pretty mouth. Telling women they have a pretty mouth, it's like, can you just open your mouth just like this? Just a little. Yep, I think that would work. Just want to figure the angle. You're at the dentist. I'll come from behind. How you doing, honey? Oh, okay. How was work today? Oh, yeah, so. Get a tattoo on her cheek that says "Insert dick here." Insert tab A into slot B. Yeah. The sun is out. This will be good. So we'll sit here for 20 minutes or so and enjoy the sun. Look at the sun. It's just, we brought the sun out completely. Just a nice blue field. It's perfect. So the sexual predator, who is not a sexual predator, who is a sexual predator, came out here and molested me. She managed to find me on her special little journey and deliver her message. Because, people with diseases have little messages. They always have a message for you, and it's like, it makes you feel like death. Because Christian or otherwise, spiritualists, they just eliminated you from their consideration completely. There's nothing about you you're just a cavity, you're a vessel, you're a receptacle for whatever they want to project into you. Women think I'm their sex doll. But you had no boundaries. You just this is quite nice. Just, little sciatic. So in the course of my day, coming or going, I'm going to see 2 pentagrams on any given day. This guy. Nice. Dude. Let's sing it like a good song this time, okay? A song. What should it be a song to? A song to the nations. No. A song to all the decent earthlings. A song of the human spirit. A song of doom and darkness. A song of Satan. A song of Jesus. Yes, Jesus comes up, the works of all my mind. let's have a song to trees. Trees. Okay. Well, this tree is holding up my camera, so we'll start here. It's so coarse and dry. I like this little branch there, this little branch there, and this little branch here, and this tree lived for probably about 4 years, 3 or 4 years. Grew out of right here near this log, or was a branch maybe even of this tree before. This tree, look at the mass of this tree. This tree, if you were on the ocean and you just had this tree, it would probably float. You know, be like a big canoe. It wouldn't float. Well, your feet would be in the water. It would float. You went to the back, you know. You could see maybe how they would hollow out trees because, like, they seem like, you know, like wood does pretty good in the water. You could see like branches float. Hollowing out a tree though, that's got to be work. Uh, what an interesting thing to do though, because you take away all the things that aren't a boat. You've got a pretty strong boat of one piece of wood. That's pretty cool. Just keep hacking away at it. It's pretty neat. There's a sound coming in here. Oh, 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 oh. There's a tree trunk system over there once, and I could see a native sitting in a boat, in a big canoe. Oh, ooh, many, many days upon the sea. The turning stars, eternity, the leaves blowing through her hair, and all we breathe new songs. She had passed and gave to man his heart so deep and blue that cradled by the Father, the Father in the sky. His branches made our home so fair, and made our mothers smile. a smile in your heart, my dear mother, as I would be a smile in your heart. And that was all I ever wanted to be, a smile in my mother's heart. And make my father proud and bright, and take no measures but the measures that could turn a wrong to right. The song itself, from day to night. And these murmurs, every leaf and every stirring branch and every little world of air, breathe, every little bit of sun that we can reach, and every small stretch of land that supports us from beneath, and in whose vast, dark, living worlds there lay no death, and only the best of heavens. Man's breath could sooner be extinguished than the stars themselves in the sky. Our minds are eternal. Our mind is a spirit. The spirit runs through our blood like a song upon our lips and upon the winds of spring and summer, lips of every day and dawning song drawn from the last breath. They dawned upon our own mothers and fathers' lips, and out of their want for each other, their want of each other, and even the pain of each other that left so much wanting, and the unseen robbery of one trust in another, each to each, paid out in so many silent agonies, and to languish as so many of the watches of that which is so wonderful and bright, and never so fair. Our own mother did venture to look upon them, to take great gulps of